Kia ora, nau mai, hoki mai. Thank you for joining us again on another lovely evening. I'm here in Tāmaki Makaurau, so wherever you are in Aotearoa, or I know there has been people that have joined from Aotearoa and other places, so yeah, welcome. Thanks again for coming and spending a bit of your Wednesday night with me as we go over some delve into our tutuology, I guess. Tonight, Google Sites. Now, I've done this a number of times with different people, and in Te Wānanga Aotearoa, in certain programs, it's a requirement for our He Kora Waiakonga, that's a Bachelor of Primary Education program, to create ePortfolios. But I wanted to show you how else you can use it as well. This is going to be useful if you are doing ePortfolios, so I'm not going to not do that stuff. But if you are looking at starting a business, if you want to supercharge your public profile because you're in the job market or looking at moving careers, if you've got a big whānau event, lots and lots of different cases. Yeah, if you're an artist and want to profile your mahi and a place where people can contact you, it can be a great tool, and it's free. So we will also look at connecting a domain name with your Google site. So that means being able to buy a domain name, a something.co.nz or .maori or .nz or .org.nz, and then actually connecting it with Google Drive. The Google Drive is still free, but the domain name costs, but it's something like $30 to $50 a year. And that's the whole cost. Where you don't have things is payment systems in Google Drive, Google Sites and stuff. So it's just purely look at my stuff and what else can you do. So let's go have a look. We're going to have a look at some examples first off. Kia ora, Betty and Lisa, thank you for chickening in, both of you. If you are new and you're wondering why people are putting in chicken, it's our kind of long-running joke. It's been that way for years for people to check in, so they chicken by chickening. And that's the last dad joke I'll say tonight, I think. I can't promise that, actually, sorry. Okay, let's jump over. I will hide myself because we might need to see some of these, some of the area down the bottom right-hand side. So this is a Google site that I created many years ago. I should just remembered that I've done it. So it's very out of date, but it was a way when I was doing Te Toi o Toa as a full-time job to have tauira, whānau, kaiako be able to access resources that I created without sitting behind a login wall. So here we have different pages on the site. We have links to other things. We've got pictures put in. We have menus and sub-menus. We have embedded video. We have help sheets. So these are embedded documents, whether they be PDFs or other types of documents, Word documents, PowerPoints. Right. And so, and a search. So that was, created a long time ago. And that's one example. You will see some very similar kind of things, but we'll have a look at that as well. A number of years ago, and even earlier this year, I did a trip in a game that I play called Elite Dangerous out to the Matariki Stars. And when the first time I did that, I created this site to have other players of the game who weren't in Aotearoa to be able to understand what Matariki was, and they could take the tour as well. So here I had links, my squadron, things that they could do about Matariki. Once again, we've got menus. We had the route, and this has point of interests. Right. So this has expanding areas where we can expand. So lots of different things that we can do with websites. Kia ora, Julia, and kia ora, little one. Oh, one little one. Thanks for chickening in, both of you. And final example is actually where we've got a domain name pointed to a website. So this is my website for a little business side business that I do 3D printing. So we can see it's going to kimcam.co.nz. And once again, we've got sub-menus, we've got an About Us page, we've got a Contact Us, right, with links and stuff like that. And then you can also look at the different things that we print, and we've got things like rotating photos and the ability to download instructions with buttons. So we're going to look at all of that stuff, and please feel free to type in the chat. I will be keeping an eye on it if you do have any partai or want me to cover anything again. I may go a little quickly. I'll try not to. Kia ora, Sharon. Thanks for checking in. Okay, so Google Sites sits in Google Drive. So it will go into Google Drive and you create a site in here. Now you can create a site anywhere you like, to be honest. When you come to new and we scroll down, we've got different options for things that we can do, and more. We have a look. We have an option for Google Sites. So I'm not going to create one in my main folder of Google Drive. I'm going to create a folder first. Okay? And I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to give it the name of what I want my site to be. It doesn't have to be the exact name that it's going to be called, but I'm going to do this one as my portfolio. Actually, I'll change that. Online CV. Create. So here now I've created a folder. Just as in terms of good practice, I want to put everything that I'm putting into my site here. So here, online CV, anything that I'm going to have onto my site, unless it's coming from another location such as YouTube, or it's images that I'm going to directly upload, then I want it sitting in here. So here, I'll come down, I'm going to come more, and I'm going to click on Google Sites. It's going to create the Google site for me. At the moment, it's an untitled site. I've got my title page and a title that I can put on. So let's have a look around first. Okay. So this is our editing area. This is where we edit the site. And over on the right-hand side, we've got insert options. So insert text box, images, drive. So that's an item from your Google Drive, or embed. Embedding is bringing something from another site or another location and placing it in your site. And some examples of that can be like a form. If you wanted a form shown in your site, or nowadays if you've developed AI bots to do things, you might have that embedded into your site. We have content blocks, which are easy ways to add content. So these are kind of previews of what it can be: a picture and some text, 2 pictures and text, and they'll be in like a table, nicely organized. We have a collapsible group. That's where we can have things expanding. A table of contents. I don't tend to use that, but that just gives the contents of all the headings on your site or on your page. Image carousel, so rotating images, buttons, dividers, spaces, social links, placeholders that you can change later, and then all of the Google stuff. So YouTube, Google Calendar, Google Maps, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Forms, and Google Charts. All of them, which may or may not be sitting in your Google Drive, can be embedded. Kia ora, Cheryl. How are you doing today? Is your big boss taking any more Māori out of anything? Sorry. I just had to say it. I'll probably get in trouble now. Right. So, if we have a look at our folder that we created, nothing's there at the moment. But as soon as I start editing the site, we're going to have something popped up. So, my online CV, I wouldn't call it my online CV, but it'd be my name. And the tutu. Okay. And let's have a look here again. And suddenly we've got it there. So it's just appeared because we're working online, and what it means is that it's saving as we go. So it's saving all the time. If you don't know if it's saved, up here in the top, or towards the top, you've got all changes saved in Drive. Okay. So let's add some content. Okay. I'm going to, I can come to insert, and I can go text box, image, Drive, or embed. Or if I double click on a blank space, it's going to bring up this little wheel. In the middle, text, images, upload, embed, and from Drive, from my Google Drive. If I click on images, it's going to go into images, and it's going to have a look through my Drive and see, so by default, Google Drive, see if, see what pictures I have. I can go my Drive or shared with me. I can link from another location, so I can have a look at my Google Images. Not my Google Images, just Google Images, and I can search. Let's search my name. Let's see what happens. There's me, a dashing young fella. I'll click on insert. Or the other thing, when I images, I can actually search my Google Photos. So this will look in all my photos for stuff. So lots of ways that I can put in a photo, but if I've got the photo sitting on my computer, I can double click and instead choose the upload option. And here it will open an Explorer window, and I can find out where my photos are. I don't know if I've got any. There we go. I'll choose that one, open, and it's going to put that in and embed it. So say I like that one better, I'll just select the photo I don't want, and I can click on the remove or just use my delete key. Now photos, like any element that we put in our site, we can drag around. And I'm not too sure if you can see it on YouTube, depending on if you're looking on a phone or you're watching this on a phone or a computer. If you're looking at a computer, you'll see these vertical bars. And this is where the photos kind of snap to. And it's giving me kind of cues about alignment. So what it's always going to do is it's going to ensure that my alignment, or there's going to be space between what I create, the different elements. Let's come over here and come to the blank space again and click. And now we're just going to put in text. Online CV. Feel free to look around and me with a humongous salary. No one's going to hire me for any salary with the way that I spell. Okay. Just like we're doing any kind of text, we do have different options of styles, okay, fonts, sizes, bold, italic, underline, text color. We can make text a link. We can put in emojis. We can align, do numbered or bulleted lists. We can duplicate, delete, and then we've got some other more, such as indent, the spacing between paragraphs, strike throughs, highlight colors, code, and clear formatting. Now, the clear formatting is really useful if you are copying and pasting from another thing and it brings over the format from that thing. Say you're copying and pasting from a Word document or or some other document, and it brings over a funny font or something that just doesn't look right. You can clear the formatting and it will take it back to just plain text. Here, I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to say this is a heading. And you see, I don't get, it just creates what that looks like for me. I can change it by coming here and changing things myself, but by default, it's just given me a look and feel. Now that's because we can choose different themes. Now, themes, while they are here, are the last things that I really play with. And the reason for that is because I want content on my site to judge what a theme is going to do. If I'm just starting with a blank site and I start playing around with themes, firstly, I'm just going to spend all my time on themes. Secondly, I'm not going to see what difference that theme is going to make to my site. For instance, if I didn't have a macron on my site, I wouldn't know that a theme supports or doesn't support the tohu tool, the macros. So I'm just going to get my content on first, and then I'll play around with themes. Okay, so really basic. All changes have been saved in Drive, and then I've got a preview button up the top, and I can see what it will look like to someone else coming to my site. Okay, great. I've got a really basic web page, which is fine. It's great. I can see what it might look like on a tablet or what it might look like on a phone. And then I can exit the preview to come back into editing mode. Now, a few other things I can do. As you see, when I hover over parts, it might bring things up. So I hover over this title bar and it's got a header type. And I can choose from, at the moment it's banner, I can choose a title only, I can go a large banner, or I can go a cover. Okay, so different ways that that header is going to look. I can change the image and I can upload an image for my header, or I can select. It's got me a bunch of preset looks. If we have a look, we've got quite a dark background at the moment. And if I go select and just from these presets, choose a light theme and insert, it automatically changes the color of my text to suit so that it's going to stand out, which is great. So what else can we add in here? Okay, I'm going to come down below our picture just to another new space, and I'm going to double click again, and I am going to go from my drive. Okay, and I'm going to put in this presentation, and I'm going to go insert, and it's going to bring up this warning saying people with access to the site My Online CV won't have access to this file. Okay, so it's asking me to give them access, so to share that file. I'm going to go don't share, and I'm going to get rid of that for now. And the reason is, actually, let's do that again. I'm just going to choose from my drive, insert, don't share. Now it's checked it up the top, and I wanted it underneath. But if we can see, as I scroll up and down, we've got these tools on the side, okay, with a little bar that allows us to click, hold and we can drag. So these are like sections on my page, and I can drag the order of them. I can change the style of them to have them slightly different colors. Okay. I can even use my own picture. I'll just come here again and I'll choose a different picture. I really want to caution about using pictures behind things like this, especially if we've got text, because it can really make the text hard to see. And if things are hard to see, people aren't going to look at them. They're not going to spend their time on your site. Okay? So I can do that. I can drag this around because it's embedded. I can select it and make it bigger or smaller. So I can make it show the whole size of that page. And once again, all changes are saved. Okay. So we've got it saving automatically. Here we go. Here's our CV here. Now, the next thing that we're going to have a look at is, well, how do other people find my site? Okay. Well, for it to become public on the web, you need to publish it. And so up here, there's a publish button. So up in our top row, we've got undo the last action, redo, the preview, a link to your site. We can't copy the link because it's unpublished. Share with others. So this is where you can get other people who they have to have a Google account, but you can get them access to the site and allow them to even be editors and change the site. So you can collaboratively work on the site. Share. Okay. And then settings, and we'll come and have a look at this stuff soon. But here's the really important thing when you first publish the site, is deciding who you want to have access to it, and do you want it to be searchable. So if I click on publish, I publish to the web. I have to give it a web address. It's just picked up my online CV, but the web address for the site will be https sites.google.com/view/my online CV, or whatever I put there. If I put something like my page, okay, it's going to have a look and say that address is already taken. So this part has to be unique from anything anyone else has done. If you want your page easy to find, you want this nice and simple. Kane's CV. Okay, great, it's got a tick. That's available. Okay. If you don't want it easily findable, okay, you want this quite complex. So for instance, if you're doing it as part of Aotearoa and you just want your kaiako to have access, but you know other people might need it, such as moderators in your wānanga, you might do something like my site dash 2025 dash and my tauira number 200123456. Okay, so something no one's going to easily just type in accidentally and find. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. Who can view my site? Anyone. We can go manage, and then we can choose, we come back to here, and we can choose specific people only. So draft is restricted, only people with access, so only people I choose. The published site, public, restricted, or remove the link. Okay. The published site, I want public. I don't want anyone who needs to go there not to have access, or to be locked behind a login. Okay. But what I might want is for public search engines to not display my site. So once again, if it's mine, if it's my Aotearoa, and I want to protect it a little bit, I don't want anyone finding it just because it's online, I can choose request public search engines to not display my site, and then click on publish. Okay. it's coming up with this error again because it's recognized I've got this untitled presentation without proper permissions. I'm going to click on don't share again because I'll show you what that causes. Now that I've published my site, next to the publish button is a little drop down where I can change publish settings, review changes in publish, or view published site, or even unpublished. So I'm going to view published site. So this is what other people are going to be able to see and get to. Okay. I'll actually check this in the chat because if anyone wants to click on it, you'll see that it is live. And if I scroll down, I get to see this picture because I'm logged in as me. But if I come and open a guest profile, so here's a new Chrome instance where nobody's logged in, and I'll go to that site, and suddenly in that place where that presentation was, it's giving me a sign into your Google account. So general people will not have access to that presentation. Now, why didn't I just give that access when I was when it popped up the warning for me? Part of it is my training. I first learned to code doing websites, and so the way that I organize my site is quite particular, and I just think it's good practice. And yeah, that's the main reason. And secondly, by having things scattered over your Google Drive that you might be putting in here, if you absentmindedly move something or change something or delete something, it could affect your site. So what I prefer to do, instead of coming to my site, double clicking and adding from Google Drive and just adding from anywhere, is to actually come into the folder that I've created and then creating a new folder. So right click, new folder, and give that a name. I could call it uploads or content or documents. Okay. And so in my main drive where this presentation is, I'm going to click it, I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drag it into online CV. And then I'm going to drag it into documents. Now, what we had to do was give that document permission to be seen by anybody. By creating this folder, all I have to do is come here, click on share, okay, and general access. I want anyone with the link, okay, just updating, and make sure it's set as viewer. Okay. So if they're viewer, they can't edit it, change it, or anything else. And then I go done. Now the permission for that document folder is now anyone with a link to that folder can view it. And that permission is recursive. So it's going to populate to anything inside that folder. So now in my online CV, I'll just refresh my page and my edit option. Okay. It's smart enough to know that that location has changed where it was. So it's updated my page. Okay. When I click on publish, okay, it's not going to give me any warnings now. And if I come back to a guest window, so open guest profile, paste the page in and scroll down, now I can see that document. Because it's sitting in that folder with permission, that document has inherited permissions and is able to be seen. I'll just minimize that and we'll look at the next things that we can add. Okay. So here we're going to come to pages. And when I come to pages, we've got home, and I can come down the bottom with a little plus, and I can go by default a new page, a new link, fully page embed. So that's taking a page from somewhere else and embedding it, or a new section, new menu section. If I go new page, and I'll go my CV, Now, automatically, we've got this menu up the top, Home and My CV. My CV, I can change the name of the title. It's not going to change the name of that. I can change the image. So I'll select just something different. Okay. And then once again, double click. Here, I'm going to click on the embed, and I can put in the URL. So here's a YouTube clip. Copy that. I'll come to the CV. I'm going to paste that in. It's going to analyze it, and I can insert that. So I've embedded a video clip into my file, into my site. Now, it doesn't have to be from YouTube. It could be from Vimeo or other video hosting sites, but it has to be public. Trying to embed something like Facebook could be a problem. So YouTube is generally the best. And it doesn't have to be yours. You might embed something from somebody else. The other thing that I'm going to embed is I'm going to embed the CV that I did in another session, which is available on this YouTube channel, about creating your CV in PowerPoint. Okay, but it's a PDF. Okay, this is the document I want to embed. I'm going to come to my drive, into my online CV. I'll come into the documents folder, and I'm just going to grab that and drag and drop. Okay, it's going to upload it, and then here I'll come to from my drive, and I can click on recent, and it hasn't found it yet. Okay, so let's come and navigate this way, documents, and there's CV, insert. There's my CV. I can drag that down and make that bigger. Okay, so I can have a document. And once again, if I click on publish, okay, here it's showing my draft, and currently published is nothing because this page doesn't exist. So I'll just click on publish. I'll come to my guest profile. We don't have the changes that I've made, so I'll need to refresh. I'll do that a couple of times. Here we go. Now we've got these menus up the top. I can go to my CV. Here's the video. Here's the document. Because it's sitting in that folder, it's got the permissions. I didn't have any problems with having to share it separately. Okay. And I'm going to create one more page here, and I'm going to call that Contact Me. Okay. And I'm going to come to insert, and I might have a map. So if I click on map, I can search where I want it to be. 15 Canning Cruz, Mangere. Select. It'll embed that map in there. Double click text. Contact and email Kane at tutoriology.maori. It's automatically changed that into a email link for me, which is great. Phone. don't have Insta, don't look it up. Okay. Now, I published before because even though I'm editing and it's saving as we go, it's not publishing the site. So I've almost got two versions. I've got my edit version and then I've got my published version. So before I can have this part visible, I have to republish. And that's why this publish option is here. And it's only when I publish again that any changes that I make become visible. Now, I'm going to do something else too, and I'm going to do a really quick form. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to go Google Forms. Actually, cancel. Yeah. I want that here. I don't want that in that document, only because I want to be able to. I want to be able to look at it quickly. And so here I might go contact me. Name, change it from multiple choice to short answer. It's required. Add a question. Once again, I might do that in a paragraph. Number. So I'm just doing a really, really quick. Required. Okay. And I just kind of change that to suit my site, which is more blue. Okay. I want to publish it. Anyone with a link. Okay. Anyone with a link can be a responder. Okay. Done. Publish. And it's changed it to contact me. And so now on my online CV, I can embed. Okay, so here we have in our insert a form. Okay, and it's found contact me, and I can insert that. I decide I'll remove that. I'll grab that instead. Click, hold, drag, and drop. Once again, I'll just refresh my page because I haven't published that. When I come back to contact me, it's got the old thing. I need to republish again for those changes to be made. So here's my draft with the new thing. Here's my currently published site with the old style. So let's go publish. So that's an important thing that some people forget, to ensure that after you've made changes, if you're happy, just republish your site. Just refresh this a couple of times. And here we go. So here's a contact form. So nice, easy way to create a site like that. Okay, so good question. When you click on publish, it will be available for everyone to see. Yes, but that's where those published settings come in, Julia. So if I come to publish settings, by requesting public search engines do not display my site, means that it's not going to come up in any Google searches. By creating quite a random and long web address, people aren't just going to be able to go to sites.google.com and put in something random and have it appear. So it's still visible on the internet, but you're protecting it as much as possible. So things like a family reunion, like I've made Google sites for family reunions. You don't know if all your family have Google accounts, and so you can't guarantee that that they're going to be able to access it if they don't have a Google account. So you do need to make it public. Otherwise, you can just share it with people specifically, They have to have their Google account, so that's how they authenticate who they are. And then it's not published to the web, but it is still available for people to see. So let's just recap that. I created a site. I have created a page, added some content, published, making sure search engines don't display, and then added new pages, republished, added more things such as embedded YouTube or embedded content, made sure all of the documents that I want embedded into my site are sitting into a folder, and that folder has been shared with anyone with a link can be a viewer access. Okay, so it solves any permissions, um, and um, and I also created a form and embedded that. Now the other little things that we can do is over on my site we have this option. So it's showing the name of my site there. I can remove that, or I can add a logo. So a logo is a little image, and when I click on that, it brings up these settings. That's the same as this little gear icon. Okay, so what I can do here is I can change how this navigation is. At the moment, it's the top. I can make it on the side, and here we now get this hamburger menu where the navigation opens up on the side. Now, if we have it up the top, and then people view our site on a phone, so here's the preview option, and go on a phone, it pops it to the side anyway. But here's one of the options where you can change. Transparent, you can have it white, black. Okay. If I have it transparent, once I scroll down, this menu saves or stays up there. So I'm just going to view published sites, going to open it up in a new window. And as I scroll down, my top menu bar stays there, but it changes color as well. Okay, so it's just transparent while you're on full page. Okay. Brand images, this is where you can have your logo there, your favicon. So favicon is the little icon that's saved if you have favorite. So here in this favorite, that's the little favicon, the little picture. Okay. So you can have that there. Okay. Custom domains is where you can connect the domain name. So you can have a domain name that you purchase associated with a site. And there's a little bit to do. When I connect the domain, it will take me through the steps. I have to own the domain first. And if you are doing a domain, please don't use any service that's outside of New Zealand. The reason is if you decide to change services or service providers for your domain, it becomes really, really hard if you don't have a New Zealand provider. So one place I recommend, I've been using for years, it's a little technical, like it's not the most easy to navigate site when you're working with it and when you're actually changing things, but it's First Domains. Okay. Here we can have a look for domains. Let's see. Tautology. If anyone buys this domain, by the way, I'm going to kill you. Okay, let's go get it now. Come on. Okay, and it says tautology.nz is available, so I can click on the ones that I want. Okay, it shows me the costs. So $39.50, so about $40 a year plus GST. If I want .me, it's $54.95 plus GST, or .info, $60. Okay. if I wanted something specific, I can actually go in and bulk domain name search. Okay? And I can put in a whole bunch of domain names and it will show me if they're available. Then if I want them, I buy them, I create an account, and I can then change specific records. So it's changing technical records to say where that site's, where my site is. And so I have to work between your domain provider, okay, or and your actual website to get them connected. Once again, if anyone goes to www.forum.kimcam.co.nz, that is a Google site that has been connected via a domain name. Okay? So if you didn't know that it was a Google site, it just looks like a website that's been created by someone super handsome. Sorry. I'm tired too. Right. So analytics, you can measure how your site does in analytics, useful if you've got a public website that you want to promote. And you can also put in an announcement banner. So that's a banner that will scroll across the top of your site with an announcement. Like if I was a musician or something and this was my band site or my public site, I might have an announcement banner saying when my next show is. Stuff like that. Okay. The other thing that I can do is, hey, I don't like this. I want my contact me under my CV. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to drag it and I'm going to drop it. And now this is a sub menu. So I've got my CV, click it, but I've also got, when I hover over it, contact me, it comes out. And this is where we can go a new menu section about me. Done. I'm going to drag that and drop it between home and my CV. So now what's appeared here, it's not clickable by itself because it's not a link anywhere, but I can put pages inside here. And so it's just a now menu with a drop down. So that's what that is. Okay. If I did a link, I could do a link to https://www.twoa.ac.nz. I got the option to open a new tab. A name is required. TWOA. Done. I'll grab that and I'm going to drag it down so it's by itself. And so that's a menu item, but it links to a different site. So those are what they are. Once again, let's publish. It's got the changes. So I want to publish again. Once again, if you're not sure, you can always come and unpublish. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover here is the themes. So we've looked at how to change the images here. I've just gone to select and chosen from the default, but once again, I can go by URL. So let's actually come to Pixabay, which I keep on using, .com. Okay. And there we go. I can right click on that. I can copy the image address, and when I come to the CV, if I paste it in, as long as it's allowed by that website, it will bring that image in and I can insert it. Once again, I can search by Google Images. Spelling to the rescue. Insert. And the other ways that we can do photos. So Google Images from my Google Photos albums or my Google Drive. So that kind of contributes to my theme, but the themes over here are a bunch of different themes. I'm going to come to home because I want to see what it does with this macron. And at the moment, we're on the simple theme. I can change the color of the theme in terms of what's the highlight color or the accent color of that theme. I can choose my own color if I want. Okay. And then I can go font style. So at the moment it's light, classic. That's good. It fixes the macron, but it's probably not my favorite look. That fixes the macron. It's chunky, it's kind of modern, so that's what I might do. So this is why you want the content first. So that's simple. Then you've got other ones, and they're going to slightly edit the look and feel. Once again, they'll change the font. Okay. Not all fonts will work. Font style light. Actually like that. And you can come and create your own custom theme. I'm not going to go through that here because most of these themes should be fine for most people. Okay. So that's the themes, and that's why I do recommend you have all your content online first and then start playing around with your themes. Because yeah, you could be here for hours. And then republish. So I did race through a few things. I was actually hoping that I could create a couple of sites, but I'm glad I got that stuff in. I will actually just cover something else quickly. I'm going to come back to my Google Drive. I'm going to come to my default drive, and I'm going to grab my spreadsheet, put it in there. Once again, put it in my documents. Move. Come to my online CV, just so you can see what it looks like to have a spreadsheet in there. P&L, insert. So if you are in, say, a business program and you wanted to create a business case and you're attracting investors or business partners, things like that, you could create a Google site and you're showing not only your thinking behind the business and stuff like that, but you're also showing that you have skills to publish things online in a really attractive way. So it's a really, really cool little skill to add to your tohu. As I said, like if you're selling things online, you may not, this might not be your final thing, but if you're like me and my wife, who sell things through Trade Me and then just want a place for people to go to see what else we do, we are going to eventually move to a site where people can buy directly from us, but we're just making sure that we've got enough sales that it's going to pay for itself, which it is now, and I've just been busy, but so I'm just going to publish that. Let's have a look at our public version. I'll have to refresh because this is all changed. refresh. That page doesn't even exist anymore. Home. Okay. And here's a spreadsheet. I have no access to edit it. I can't click in it at all. I can open it up full size, but once again, view only. I don't have any other options to do anything with it. So these are some of the things that you can do. Once again, like anything that I kind of cover, your creativity is going to be your biggest asset here, and your ability to play with the tools, learn what they do, and try different things. A million YouTube videos, Google examples of great Google sites if you want to get ideas of what other people do. But it's a really, really useful tool, and I've used it so many times with whānau and for even had a Google site set up for when our girl was born, so that I just updated that rather than sending the same message out to 100 people. So whānau, hopefully that was useful. I know our tauira in the primary education use this. Tauira in adult ed can use it. It's a very, really useful tool to have. And yeah, as a different way to present your work, as a tool for just any kind of thing that you want to have online and have full control over what it is. Yeah, it's awesome. Vision boards, first home buyer journey, awesome. Okay. Well, hopefully this is useful, and I'm more than happy to help anyone that wants, especially if you've got ideas and you want to connect domain and need help with that as well. Please just hit me up. As I said, I'm more than happy to help with all of that. Next week I won't be here, I'm traveling, but I will post up a video. It's going to be a video on a little AI tool that you can use to help you learn software and stuff like that. So I'll post that up by next weekend or next week. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy yourselves. Be happy. It's yeah, we're coming into a bit of a low energy in our maramataka, so it's a good time to just be aware of the people around you. Look after your whānau. Don't have too many hui, and yeah, look after yourselves. So have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you again very soon. Ka kite. Video. Thank you for the like and stuff. Remember, these are always available for that. Kia ora to Julia for the questions. I'm out.